Welcome to the channel, everybody. Today, we're going to be going over Tiamat and the Dragon Bloodline. So we've gone over, the Norse mythology side of the Deep, and the Deep is a Leviathan, and I'll show you here in a second. But anyways, we're going to go to the Mesopotamian side of the Deep now, and the name Tiamat, who herself is kind of like a sea dragon, or portrayed, right? Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So Tiamat, in ancient Mesopotamian mythology, the primordial goddess who was the personification of the salt sea and the mother of the gods. So very interesting. She also was associated with the chaos of creation. Tiamat and Apsu, also spelled Apsu, the personification of fresh water beneath the earth. That's interesting. Are the source of a family of gods with whom she eventually went to war. And the Book of Enoch talks about this. So, anyways, she was slain by Marduk, the chief god of the city of Babylon. And from her body he created the universe. In later myths, Tiamat was sometimes portrayed as a serpent or dragon. And these images have inspired creatures in modern popular culture, notably in the role-playing game Dungeons & Dragons. So, so first we'll go over and I'll show you Leviathan and Behemoth here. So this is 1 Enoch chapter 60, verse 7. And on that day were two monsters parted. Kind of interesting. Why were they parted? What was going on here? Where there's some shenanigans going on. A female monster named Leviathan, to dwell in the abysses of the ocean over the fountains of the waters. Now these fountains of waters are going to come to play in Revelation, because there's a lady who sits on many waters. But anyways, I'll get to that when we get to that. But you see here's Behemoth and all that. And both Leviathan and Behemoth are mentioned in Job. Okay. So now we're going to get to where is it? Where they turn on them. Okay. Here we go. Go bind Semyaza and his associates, who have united themselves with women, so they have defiled themselves with them in their uncleanness. And when their sons have slain one another, they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones. Bind them fast for 70 generations in the valley of the earth. Here, let me get a receipt against that word and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of the watchers from amongst men. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. So there we go. And so one of the things was Marduk, right? She was slain by Marduk, the chief god of the city of Babylon. Well, who's that? So, I can't get to it from here because, yeah, technical difficulties, so I'll just read it from my phone here. This is Isaiah 14, of course. Thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon. This is Lucifer, by the way. And say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden cities ceased. So, is Marduk Lucifer? Very interesting. We know he's Poseidon, right? But here's another version of him. Yeah, I already read that. So now let's move on. So now we're going to see the deep here. I'm going to prove to you that the deep is Tiamat, Hela, vice versa. Anyways, Ezekiel 31, 4-6. So this is talking about the Assyrian. This is another big dog, not up there with Satan. Well, he's one of the seven, right? But Satan's the top dog, but he's up there, let's just say. The waters made him great. The deep set him up on high with her rivers running round about his plants. Sent her little rivers unto all the trees of the field. Therefore his height was exalted above all the trees. And here we go. All the fowls of heaven made nests in his boughs, and under his branch did the beasts of the field bring forth their young, and under his shadow dwelt all great nations. Now here's Genesis 1:2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved on the face of the waters. So, again, I apologize if you've seen this, but this is for the new people who watch this. So if you see something, what do you see here? And darkness was upon the face of the deep. Kind of like a Two-Face, huh? From Batman. So, very interesting. There's another depiction. And another. So, very interesting. Better not get off of that one. So now we're going to go to Hela's place, right? Niflheim. So Niflheim, Old Norse Niflheimer in Norse mythology, the cold, dark, misty world of the dead, ruled by the goddess Hel. In some accounts, it was the last of the 9 worlds, a place in which evil men passed after reaching the region of death, Hell. Situated below one of the roots of the world tree, Yggdrasil, I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. I still have no idea how to say that. Or, I think this is Verglimer or something like that. Anyways. So, Niflheim contained a well, Verglimer, from which many rivers flowed. So there you guys go. So now that you know that the deep is this Leviathan character in the underworld, right? So now, Revelation 17. Now we're going to get this whole family into one, thing here. So, and there came one of the, Revelation 17. And there came one of the 7 angels which had 7 vials, and talked with me, saying, Unto me, come hither. I will show you unto the judgment of the great unsavory lady, we'll just say that word, that sitteth upon many waters. Okay. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy. Ready? Having 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay. And the woman was arrayed in purple, scarlet-colored, decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, filled with abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead is the name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Okay. So now, we're going to see who the beast of Revelation is. Okay, and there is the mind which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And where did I put that? Is that here? No. Right here. Okay. So those 7 mountains, those 7 heads are 7 mountains of which the woman sitteth, and there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, one is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. So the beast was, this is before John's day, so he was before John's day, but he's not in John's day now, but he will be the last king, and is of the 7. So is this where like the dying and resurrecting sun god and all that comes from, right? Okay, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Okay, so now this is the god Dagon. So check this out. So in other cases, Dagon is said to keep with him the 7 children of the underworld. And this netherworld aspect to Dagon is possibly supported by the temple built by Samsi. So there's the 7 kings, right? These 7 gods, I guess you could say, if you want to call them that. Now, we're going to go to Lucifer here. What you see right before you right now is the beast of Revelation. This is not Satan, because it calls him a man. We're going to see here. So, Isaiah 14:12-16. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? What's interesting here, this morning can also be referred to as Leviathan. Because, hold on, let me see. Where it talks about Leviathan, the morning. Sorry, I can't use the thing because the internet's not working at the moment. Yeah, by his, here we go. Can't self-draw out. Get to his job, will he make supplications? Spheres will he dine. I'm looking, guys, hold on. Can you notice so fierce? So under the whole, I will not conceal his parts. Between them. Where is it? Oh, here we go. By his sneezings and a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils go smoke, and out of the seething pot or cauldron. So there you go. Son of the morning. So very interesting. How wilt thou cut down to the ground which did weakest the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. So by the way, this is Poseidon, Lucifer, Marduk. You guys get the point here, right? And I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Sounds just like the beast. I will sit also upon the mount of congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Now here's the kicker. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, Is this the man? Not Satan, not an angel, but a man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms. This is going to be important here with Poseidon, because he's an earthquake god as well as the god of the sea. We're going to see that. Okay. Oh yes, so this is also first book Enoch chapter 69, where it talks about the son of the serpent. Right here. So chapter 69 verse 12. I think that is. Yes. Okay. Verse 12. And the fifth name was Casdia. This is he who showed the children of men death, which destroys everything. Could not take a hold of them. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Okay. Casdia showed the children of men all the wicked smitings of the spirits of demons and the smitings of the embryo in the womb. Wonder why that's coming back now. Anyways, that it may pass away, and the smitings of the soul, the bites of the serpent, and the smitings which befall through the noontide heat. The son of the serpent named Tabiet, or who is strong. So there you go. In my opinion, Lucifer is the son of the serpent, son of the morning. Okay. Oh no. Okay. Well, since we can't do that one now. So this is Poseidon. So I'll read something off of here real quick. Okay. Quakes. So here we go. Poseidon, in ancient Greek religion, god of the sea, water generally, earthquakes, and horses. So let's go back to the Lucifer thing, right? Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms? So now we're seeing that, so Tiamat has these 7 kings, right, that she sits upon and whatever. And then, of course, they did their thing and probably tried to usurp and welcome to the kingdom of darkness, right? And we got Poseidon getting a little too big for his britches, or Lucifer. And we see that Lucifer was brought down to the pit, right? And what does this say here? The beast that was is not, he is the 8th, and is of the 7, but goeth into perdition. Let's see this. It says he comes up out of the pit here. Hold on. And the beast that thou sawest was not, or was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. Nope, that ain't. So what does it happen here? And yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. It's crazy. You know, if we just actually study and let the Bible say what it says instead of trying to put stuff onto it, you know, just let the Bible say what it says, you know, and you will know who the beast is. You know, now you won't know exactly, because we're going to talk about this Prince Charles character, which is very interesting. Very interesting. That Lucifer may use a surrogate or a avatar per se, right? Because I think his body may be completely destroyed, right? So, but his spirit is still there. Anyways, I want to talk about the 10 kings of Atlantis. Here's some more of that dragon bloodline. Poseidon and Cleito had 5 pairs of twins, who along with their descendants ruled the 10 provinces into which Poseidon had divided Atlantis. The island in the ocean were called after Poseidon's firstborn, Atlas, who was also king over his brothers. The brothers and his descendants of their 10 royal houses ruled over many other islands. So as we see, the Lucifer, right? How has that golden city ceased? Atlantis, right? Here, so. And it shall come to pass, thou shalt take up his proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Okay. Alright. So now we're going to get a little bit more confirmation of the deep. Proverbs 9:18. But he knoweth not that the dead are there, and that her offspring and all that. Ready? And that her guests are in the depths of hell. So we read this right here, right? Where it says, in other cases, Dagon is said to keep with him 7 children of the underworld. So I hope you guys are understanding that there is this dragon bloodline, right? Okay, we read that one. Revelation 13:1-2. And I stood upon the sand of the... Oh, excuse me. Sorry, guys. Stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads, 10 horns. Upon his horns 10 crowns. Upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet was like the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Okay. So here's some more of these people in the pit, right? Ezekiel 20, I should have put this a little bit before this, but I apologize. Ezekiel 26:20. When I shall bring thee down with them that descend into the pit, with the people of old time, and shall set thee in the lower parts of the earth, in places desolate of old, with them that go down into the pit, that thou be not inhabited, and I shall set glory in the land of the living. Alright. So, feet with the... I want you to pay attention to his feet like a bear and all that. Okay. So, before that, this probably should have been a little bit before that too. Man. Anyways. So this is like one of the oldest Mesopotamian names for a god or whatever, I do believe, or something to that extent, is Oannes. Oannes in our Mesopotamian mythology, an amphibious being who taught mankind wisdom. Oannes was described by the Babylonian priest Barusus, had the form of a fish, but the head of a man. Under his fish's head, and under his fish's tail, the feet of a man. In daytime, he came up to the seashore of the Persian Gulf and instructed mankind in writing, the arts, and the sciences. Oannes was probably the emissary of Ea, or god of the freshwater deep, and of wisdom. So, Jesus is the messenger of God, right? Or the angel of the Lord appeared unto me, you'll hear, right? This angel of the Lord accepts worship and all that, right? Well, it's the opposite, but the same way, right? Here's Oannes giving knowledge, right? And being a messenger of the God of fresh water deep and of wisdom. So, very interesting. Seeing that these two, you got this two dichotomy, or this dichotomy of these, sons of gods, right? One is the true, Jesus Christ, son of the Almighty God, right? But then you got Satan, who is probably not 100% sure on this, but Satan's son, literally. That or the Assyrian son, probably most likely the Assyrian son, but very well could be Satan's. I'm still trying to figure that out. So, but very interesting stuff that we have this dragon bloodline and these two, different messiahs, basically, right? Lucifer on one hand, and you got Jesus Christ on the other hand, right? One is from the seed of Abraham, the other is from the seed of the serpent, basically, right? Okay. So Isaiah 34, 5 through 7. Now, look who shows up here. The Idumeans, the Edomites. So, Isaiah 34, 5 through 7. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. This also talks about another goddess, right? From that dragon bloodline. So, anyways, Isaiah 34, 5 to 7. So, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea. This is going to be the end times. How do these Edomites show up in the end times? That should tell you something. So, if you don't know what happened, this was a Maccabean general. Was Roman general, but is also Jewish. He went into Idumea, so Israel and all that, it was kind of like America is today, the melting pot. There were different ethnicities and stuff, right? Well, the Idumeans were there, and he kind of forced them to become, Jewish, or Jews, I guess you could say. I'm sorry, from Judah, right? From the kingdom of Judah. But after that, it became Judea. This is when they started taking over. They took over. So Herod, if you don't know, means hero in Edomite or Idumean. And they took over the Sanhedrin. They took it over, man. And you'll see that something happened to the Edomite bloodline to where they became the surrogates for the the dragon bloodline here. So, anyways, I'll keep going. Now, and the unicorns. So pay attention to this part here. This is going to be very interesting. The thing I'm about to bring up. Shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. Same chapter, 14 and 16. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl, this is in Hebrew Lael or Lilith, not Adam's first wife, but basically this is Isis, Astartes, Inanna, or Ishtar, however you want to say that. Ishtar, Inanna, same, basically. Most likely you will use Inanna, but enough of that. Basically, Lilith in Hebrew. You can look that up. Just type in Liylyth or something like that in the Strong's Concordance, and you will see screech owl is there. I would do that, but I can't because the internet's out. So, yeah. Screech owl shall also rest there and find herself a place of rest. There shall the great owl make her nest. That's Lilith, right? And lay and hatch and gather a shadow. There shall the vultures also be gathered, every one with her mate. Seek ye out the book of the Lord, and read the Bible. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. For my mouth hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered him. So a little bit before that, shoot. I keep forgetting. So let me go to Isaiah. It talks about the dragons. Isaiah 34. Come on, phone. Yeah. Is it at 14? Okay. They shall call the noble. This is verse 12. They shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all her princes shall be nothing. So she's got some bloodline there too. And thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof, and it shall be a habitation of dragons, and a court for owls. So that's interesting. She's got this bloodline that she's making there, and it says a place for dragons and owls. So very interesting. John 8:44 through 45. And ye, now if we remember, the Pharisees, like the Sanhedrin and all that, were taken over by the Edomites. So listen to what he says here. John 8:44 through 45, and they've taken over this dragon bloodline, right? Now they're the surrogates of it. Ye are of the father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there was no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar, and the father of it. And because I tell you the truth, ye believe me not. He literally says, you are of the father the devil. So did he know that these were Edomites? You know, if the beast, he's got to be Jewish and all that, right? Well, this is a perfect way of doing that, man. He's got the bloodline, the Jewish bloodline in there. So if you don't know, the Edomites are the Esau, the line of Esau. Jacob and Esau and all that. And they mingled with, the tribe of Judah, which is where Jesus comes from, right? And now they became Judea and Judaism, by the way. It's a little odd that you have the Idumeans come in, it becomes Judea, and then we have Judaism. But anyways. Alright, so before we get into the Pendragons, we're going to talk about the Esau, or the Edomites. So if you see here, it says Esau married his first two wives, Judith and Bashemoth, who both came from the Canaanite tribe of the Hittites. This was a Nephilim-infested tribe, by the way. This event is listed. Anyways, so later, according to Genesis 36, the Horites coexisted and intermarried with the family of Esau. And as we know, this means troglodyte or cave dwellers, which also coincides with trolls and a lot of other stuff. And anyways, so very interesting. You can go check that out, by the way, if you want. So I do have 2 videos on the Edomites, on what they did, how, and And one thing I will add to that is they also moved to throughout Europe, in the UK, and the Middle East, and all that. So they kind of moved all over the world, basically. So, and I will put those in the cards and also in the description as well. So if you want to check out those videos. Anyways, so we're going to move on to Pendragon. So Pendragon literally means chief dragon or head dragon. In the Historia Regum Britannia, one of the earliest texts of the Arthurian legend, only Uther is given the surname Pendragon, which is explained by the author Geoffrey of Monmouth as literally meaning dragon's head. Okay, so now we're gonna watch. This is a video of Now You See TV. If you can, right here's their YouTube channel, and if you can, show them support. But anyways, this is very interesting. This is Midnight Ride Special. The Antichrist is King. Tribulation starts now. This is kind of about Prince Charles here. They're going to be talking about Prince Charles. So,
even that he's a bad man. I do not know the man. I think that by Houses Association, before I move on to this
No, just keep it rolling.
Okay, so this, my friends, is, in my opinion, and I'm just going to say it because I'm not giving a definitive. I'm not saying this is for sure the Antichrist. I'm not saying even that he's a bad man. I do not know the man. I think that by Houses Associations, I can tell that he has some hands in some pretty dark things. But at the same notion, I'm saying that there's a lot of signs that add up to this man right here that I'm getting ready to present to you. And a lot of you have heard it. There's a book called The Antichrist and the Cup of Tea, which I'll be quoting from there. I did read that book. I have gotten probably one.
So they did kind of a debate on this, if you guys want to check that out as well. So, anyways.
100 emails asking me to read the book, asking me if I've read the book. I'm sure you have, David, too. Have you read the book? Have you checked out the show? Look, he's on this show. Check this out. Check this out. And so, you know what? Finally, I did, because with this coronation coming up, it's interesting to look at. It's important to look at because there's a lot of things that have shown up red flags over the years that have forced us to look at this man. So we're looking at King Charles. Now, King Charles was coronated a couple weeks ago, and he was...
So if you heard that, he was kinged, right, because of the death of Queen Elizabeth.
Coronated on 6th day of May 2023. Now, if you look over here at his coronation, they chose all these things really, really importantly, and they hid these symbols in there. If you go to the royal website, it'll tell you more about those symbols. One of the more important symbols that I see here, obviously, is the Rosicrucian symbols here, but you see in the middle the green god that goes way back in lore. David will probably tell you all about the green god. I know that book,
Okay, so let's move on a little bit here.
Look at his heraldry, which we're going to do a little bit later, had the bloodline to really fully become king. Netanyahu, I've heard people say it was Obama. I've heard people say all of these different people. But ultimately, none of them had the bloodline to be able to claim to be the Messiah. Not one of them had the bloodline. Prince Charles, King Charles now, is the only person that has ever had the bloodline to really fully become king of Europe in whole, because he holds the ancient and the most powerful, most strong and impeccable bloodline of any of the people. And I've looked this up myself. You can see this. This guy, if you look at his heraldry.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Prince Charles, or King Charles now, is very interesting. He's like head of over both Mason groups, or Freemason groups, the Scottish Rite and the Orient or the French Freemasonry. And
which we're going to do a little bit later, you can see in his heraldry the beast of Revelation. As far as I'm concerned, this is a perfect picture representation of the beasts of Revelation, the first beast that comes out of the ocean. Now, another thing about, and I'm gonna explain to you this too. Another thing about the British Commonwealth that I think is very important to know is that there are 195 universally recognized countries. Okay, 54 of those countries are under control of the British Commonwealth. That means they own the land, they own the energy in that land, they own everything under that land. They own.
Anyways, see if I can get a.
Not only do they control that,
Hold on a second. See if I can.
by reading these books, and also looking at those qualifications, and to be accepted by Judaism and
There we go. Okay.
associates that time frame with something interesting. And then you have the Mahdi, which is going to have to be something the whole Islamic world will accept as their Messiah. Now, that's a big order to fill, right? To be able to be accepted by the Islam, by the New Age, Buddhists, and to be accepted by Judaism, and to be accepted by the rest of the world is going to be a feat. And a lot of people would say there's nobody alive right now that could possibly fulfill those things. Now, I want to give credit where credit's due, because me and David have been talking about these things a lot. We've been looking into these things, and there's a guy that wrote several books. And because of these books, I had a suspicion for a long time that the Antichrist would be of a certain lineage, because
Okay. So very interesting. So now we're going to check out King Charles's crest here. Get this one. Here we go. So, see the lion with the kind of has the hands of a bear, right? Not of a lion. Kind of like a dragon as well, right? Now look what we see here. We see a unicorn, right? So if you remember, where is it? Right here. With the Idumeans, right? In the blood of the lamb, the goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams, and the Lord has sacrificed in Basra, and the great slaughter in the land of Idumea. And the unicorns shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and dust made with fatness. Isn't that interesting? So, and then you have the dragon down here, which some say is representation of Satan. I think that's true. And then, of course, we got the crown, kind of like in the three-headed eagle, right? Where you got that crown right in the middle. There's always these three crowns, kind of, if you notice, with this stuff. So, anyways, guys, so I do want to say here that I'm not saying King Charles is the Antichrist. I still do believe Lucifer is the spirit behind the beast, or the Antichrist, whatever you want to call him. But he very well could possess King Charles, right? And use that, you know what I mean? But it's still Lucifer. But then, you know, it's very interesting. Or he could be using someone in the line of the Edomites, because that could go, like you said, from the Mahdi to, you know, the Jewish Messiah, everything. He would fulfill all that just through the Edomite bloodlines. You know? So, just something to look into, guys, and to watch out for, right? But anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and you guys have a wonderful day.